Hey there, gamers. Welcome back. Cryptic Gaming here. So, helm control, and you're trying to build your empire. Obviously, there's some changes this year. There's things that are going to slow you down compared to what it used to be. Now, obviously, we had the management book last year. It was completed and it stayed completed, but we have to redo all this stuff, and it's changed. So, we're going to go over a few things and kind of help you out with some tips. So, the good and the bad. First, let's go over here to the helm. Good things that I see in the game is if you want to fund an area, even if you don't own everything in the area, you just hover over the area where you own one factory in, and you can fund. Okay, you could just do a mass funding on it. And I went through here earlier, so there shouldn't be much that needs to be funded. But you just do that, and it's going to fund all those areas. Now, of course, there are some zones where you have auto collection, nothing to collect there yet. But then, of course, there's the zones where you don't have auto collection, but these here will actually give you different types of boosts and perks and stuff. So, like for this completed zone here, you're going to end up with extra silver, 100 silver per hour. Yeah, they have campaigning world manufacturers 5%, reducing of the cost, and so on and so forth. So, one of the things that I'm going to teach you here is going to be, you may not remember this, you may remember it, or you may be new to the game. To be able to put a ship on this to pick up automatic, if you look here, it says assigned ship. I have ships built from last season or last year, and I just put them on there. They have to be a level 2. So instead of spending that 1,000 pieces of 8, I believe it is, let's double check that number here. Yeah, 1,000 pieces of 8 to bring that up. What you do is you wait for that factory that you already own to come up for a takeover. Now, it could be this type of a hostile takeover. It could be the blue style, which is the ones I recommend. That's a solo hostile. Those are the easiest ones to do it. Or if you see a legendary heist for a territory you already own, you can do that. You're going to get bonus 8s for running it, but you're also going to get it upgraded to a level 2 for free. Then you can just set a ship on it. So that's kind of what I worked on over here with St. Anne. That's what I'm going to be working on over here with this as well. That seems to be the best way to do that. Now, one of the easiest things, this is going to help you out because it's still going to take a while. If you look here, I mean, we got used to, if you had all of St. Anne and you had those up to level 5s, you'd be pulling about 700 an hour. You're getting 145. That's with 37 factories. That's owning some over here in India and owning quite a few over here in Africa as well. So a little bit of difference in how this is paying out. Part of that is from that helm empire upgrade sheet. We're going to go over some of this, but the big one you want to watch for right now is come up here to the helm. You're going to want to hit the improved laboratory. Just take it up one level. It costs like 200. Inside intel, take that up. That takes like 200. Then you want to do this one. Here's the one you want. It's called better deals. Increase the amount of 8s. The first upgrade increases it by 25%. Next one does 50, and then this one does 75. Then you can come in here and do this as well. This is something I'm looking at maybe doing. This is if you're boarding those overseas smuggler ships. You'll be able to get pieces of 8 off of those. So, it gives you 50% more on those roving orders. So if you're out running a roving order and you're fighting those helm ships, the black and golds, and you board your ships, you're going to get pieces of 8 off of those. It's going to increase the amount. So that's another good way to do it. I usually just blow them up and focus on the better deals here. That's going to get you 75%. So how do you then bank on that? Well, you go come to order registry as well. Now, if you were doing like I showed you last year, and you were saving up all of your white skull and gold skull products, and your black snuff, and blue opium, and all the different types of materials here, you're going to start seeing that you can run these orders, and you're going to have a lot. There's going to be like 60 pieces, so you should have plenty of it. You're going to make 428s off of that, 428s off of this. You're going to end up being able to do roving missions. These are 420 for that one. This, and here's your jade, so you're going to get 525. Now, roving missions still stands, and this is the way I always will do it, and I recommend you do it this way as well. Just when you get there, do not deliver the goods to an order roving on the sea. Okay, what you want to do is just destroy the ships. That's going to give you your pieces of 8. Then you're going to be able to grab anything that they had on their ships, which is usually materials and stuff that you could then turn into more materials that you can come up here and sell on a standard order. That is the way that I would recommend doing it. You're going to make the most pieces of 8. That way, you're going to use the least amount of skull products that way as well. Your helm products, you're going to use the fewer. So that's how I would recommend doing that. Now, going back to the helm, you know, there's no right or wrong way to do this, guys. So I originally started off with the sea peoples. If you've ever watched my videos, I typically will always start off with these 4 locations here, and these are sea people. And I try to bring them up, usually to 10s back in the day. My understanding is the 5s about as high as you can get it. Really, you don't need to go over. I mean, let's just look at the difference here. That's a 5.32. And this in here, you get 4.73. So, I mean, it's up to you, but really, you don't have to take those much over a 3 or a 4. I'm going to do a 5 later just to see what it pays out, but you know, they seem to be fine at 3s. They pay pretty decent on that. You know, obviously nothing's paying really, really well. Now, where would this 5.36 would come in? Yeah, that would be, you know, bringing this up another level in the manufacturing. You know, it says requires a Black Lotus opium production. So that's going to be something that's going to have to open up over here. You could always look, see what that's, where that is here. So we're going to have to bring up some of our helm stuff. So you're going to have to upgrade this helm in order to be able to get some of that as well, to get those extra things. But the quickest way is going to be doing your master routes. So like I said, I did sea peoples first. I wanted to get those up to 3s and 4s. So that's why I ended up coming down through this tier. Down through here, maximum number of owned manufacturers by 3 on that one there. Well, then I ended up coming over here to the helm, and this here does the additional 8 manufacturers. This here's a savvy trader. This is one that I'm going to save up and upgrade again. Increases your profits for established trade routes. Obviously, I have a lot of established trade routes now, so it's time to start utilizing that. Then, of course, your maximum numbers of owned manufacturers, 8 on each of those. Those get pretty expensive after a while. Then we're up to about 4,000 pieces 8 now with your manufacturing fortifications. Then again, over here with your efficient shipping, reduces transportation time by 20%. That'd be mostly if you're hauling stuff with ships. Doesn't really bother me one way or the other, but you may as well get it done when it comes to that time. And then, of course, here we're going to be able to increase our factories by 8 again. And then over here, we're going to have trade dominance. We're going to increase global production rates by 0.1. Doesn't sound like much, but that's for every established trade route. And you can establish quite a few of them on here. And again, 0.5 global production cost is reduced. And then again here, we're going to be able to open up some more. And it gets up to about 10,000 a piece. Opening those. So we're going to be looking at kind of a long haul. But I'm hoping that this is going to kind of help you out a little bit. So this is what I've been working on. You can work on this. And typically, now understand there is something in the game right now where there is a glitch where sometimes if you already own a manufacturer and you run that legendary heist, it deducts to 900, and it's just a risk you take. Then there's where you run a hostile takeover on a territory that you already own, trying to bring that up to level 2. It will boost it to level 2, but you end up losing that 350 pieces of 8 out of your bank. Not always, but it does happen. So keep an eye on it. Make sure you're reporting it over to Ubisoft every time it happens. That way that they can get you those pieces of 8 back at the, I think it's April 22nd is when they're going to be trying to get that lined out and get everybody's stuff to them. At least that's what it said in their helm update. So, but yeah, that's kind of where we're at right now. I hope this video kind of helps you out with some of this stuff. Like I say, the more factories you have, the better you're going to be on it. Now, if you have a ship here, like some of these ships here, something that you may or may not remember. Now, you cannot place a ship on a level 1 factory. So once it's level 2, what I've noticed here if you were using like a, say, a level 13 ship, I don't know why you would for a pickup, but this factory holds 750. This thing here picks up at 610, so you'd be okay. But used to back in the day, you didn't want to use too big of a ship because it never would pick up on those low factories. So everything I keep around a level 8. These are just some old snows and things like that, and barks that I've built. You know, you just take them and put them on there. But this in here will pick up. It says ship capacity and delivery amount 340. So every time your manufacturer hits 340, the ship goes out, picks up, and brings it back. So obviously, if you're looking at, say, this property here, and you're pulling in, let's see, 3.27 an hour, it's going to take a while to reach that amount to have to pull those in. So just take your time. Don't be in any hurry, and run these order registries, man. Run them like crazy. If you need materials, if you're starting off like I really need materials, what do? Come in here to Supply Network. You have all these supply deals. Again, do the roving. Now, if you're in a smaller ship, if you're in a snow, you'll be okay. But if you're in a smaller ship, you're going to have to do these one at a time. The reason why is these things will fill your boat up quick. But you're going to take and you're going to pick these roving missions up, and you're going to come over here and you're going to blow that roving ship up. You're going to sink him to the bottom. You're going to get the product for free, and you're going to come back and you're going to find your manufacturers. Don't bother spending money on it. You're a pirate. You know, save your silver and be smart about your helm. The less amount of input you're having to put into your actual currencies to buy stuff to supply it, and you're just getting rewards, that's the way to do it. And as long as you have in your warehouse, let's go over here to the distillery. So I distill stuff still. I try to always keep some sort of a stock back. So we'll go ahead and put this white skull product in the warehouse. We'll go ahead and take this white skull gin into the warehouse. We could come up here and we could, you know, go ahead and start adding some extra stuff in it as well. So we got sugar cane, so we can make some more of this as well. And the reason I try to keep this flowing and try to keep this building in my stockpiles is because now I don't always refine everything over. This is for juniper berries, yeah, so I could go ahead and do that. But if you're switching it to a gold skull from a white skull product, you don't always do it all, because you want to make sure that you have some of each in the warehouse. And you don't have to pull that stuff out of the warehouse. You just want to make sure it's in there so that you can pick up these roving orders. If you don't have it in the warehouse, it's not going to let you use the order. That's something to remember. So hope this helps you out. Now, as far as you're looking to, say, upgrade some weapons, this is one of the things that I posted up in a video on our Discord channel for everybody there. There are some videos I don't post to the public. I will share this because it can be kind of confusing to folks. I'm not going to go a whole lot into my reasoning on some of my builds, but when you come in here to your ascensions, go to ascend your items. If you switch over to your ship, it'll show what's on your ship. When you come in here, if you put something on your ship that you don't like, so this one here, we'll put dire burning. It ignores 100% of a target's burning resistance. What that does for a sandbuck is just creates even more opportunities for it to be sending out that ring of fire. But if you decide later you want to change that, or you get like 3 perks you can add to. If you want to change any of those at any time, you just go back into that weapon, and it would say reforge modification down there at the bottom. You do that, and for upgrade parts, you're going to be able to change those. Okay, you can always go in and change it at some point. Once you open up that tier with those other parts, you could go in and change that. So I did want to mention that in a video. Again, I'm not going to go into a comprehensive build video of weapons or even ship types and things right now on this video. This is mostly for helm management. So also, if you were last season, you know, making sure running bounty boards, picking up commodities and things like that. You know, we had a kind of a dry spell. You know, we were waiting on large ships. They got postponed to this year, so that's great. So we're going to get the large ships this year. We're going to be getting a lot of those things that they've promised us. is scheduled. Most of it's starting to come out in season 2 of this year. Right now, this first season, there was quite a few negative comments in the video that I'd posted earlier. People complaining about some of the things that they wished it happened, or why is it taking so long and things like that. And all that's fine. So like right there, we could actually come up and run this if we owned it. We don't own that. I could still run that if I wanted to. I mean, activity's full, but I could run it and earn 350, even though I can't hold any more factories. So I'm 37 of 37 factories. I've got 29 of 81 completed trade routes. Using 19 of 34 ships that I've got set up there. And then looks like we're pulling 145 pieces of 8 an hour and 100 silver an hour. And then there's 6 of the 18 territories. That'll be the full territories, your boundary map. So I've got 6 of 18 of those. So I am getting there. It's taking a little bit. Now these things here, these legendary heists, one of the things I have noticed is when you go in to do a legendary heist, you're typically by yourself, but it'll show like 2 or 3 people in it. So like this one here shows 2 of 3 people there. Let's go ahead and join in. Okay, there are a few people there, so we could travel down. I'm not going to mess their stuff up on the outside of it, but typically I would come in and you'd end up being the only person there. So it's up to you. Do you want to go in and run that and get those pieces of 8? I'm going to go ahead and hop out of that. I'm not going to risk running a heist right now. The reason I say that is I've lost about 4,000. I've lost about 4,000 or 5,000 pieces of 8 on these things where you run through them, think you're going to get to 900 pieces of 8, and then you end up just, sorry, it didn't happen. And it ends up taking it out of your account. So that's some kind of a glitch they've got. They are aware of it, like I said. So run those at your own risk. The only time I really ran those is if they was something that I needed. Now, you could run it 900 pieces of 8. Sounds very tempting for sure. But I can come in here and I can run these roving missions and half the time and make just as much. So I'm going to hop off here, guys. I hope this video has helped you out. Y'all have a wonderful day.